What is up? What's poppin'? You know it ain't no stopping. It is your boy, the International Sensei here. Y'all know the rules. Keep it right, keep it tight, and above all, please talk to me nice. And now we are here. It's almost time for a nap, but I'm here to talk about some closing of the gap. Now, I mentioned this phenomenon like a while back where like closing the gap was like a very, very real thing in fighting games, whether that was in Tekken, whether that was in Mortal Kombat, etc. And I mean, I think it's kind of got worse as like games have evolved. I think like MK11 is a lot simpler, Street Fighter 5 is a lot simpler, things of that nature. And it's just weird like how I guess dumbing down a game has gotten to be like commonplace at this point. Just like from like a standpoint of a player, a person that used to compete, a person that's like that casts the game. I think what happens is like people are under the assumption that okay, if we dumb the games down and we take away a lot of the variation, take away a lot of the complexity, then it's going to be easier for newer players to get in. Yes, that is true. Now, what also happens is that it makes it easier for top players to learn the game, and they don't have to spend as much time playing the game. So, like if you have a game like Street Fighter 5, for example, where there's really only thing you really need to study a ton of is frame data. The combo routes really haven't. I mean, they've changed somewhat now, but like when the game first came out, the combo routes were pretty much the same. Like going on for the first couple of years, the routes were the same. Optimal damage was about the same. Game plans were damn near exactly the same. Like you might have seen like one or two standout players where you could kind of tell like the differences of how they played and stuff. Or going to MK11, combo routes are damn near identical character to character, except for like characters like Cabal, maybe Cetrion, off the top of my head, like Jackie a little bit. But that's like really it, and then everyone else plays exactly the same. So what happens is, yeah, these players are able to get these easy game plans and learn this stuff very quickly, but then you have the top guys that are like, okay, well, I can just beat you by spacing you out. I don't have to worry about all these little extra nuance things. I don't have to have as much game knowledge. And it becomes like a thing that it grows, I guess, stale very fast. Because like I see a lot of people like, I think halfway through year one of MK11, people were complaining about it, and now it's like year two. But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that people thought that because the game was easier, that they were going to be winning more, or because it was a newer game, that people were going to be winning more, that the fact that the crush and blow mechanic was in there, people would be winning more. But it's just the same thing because you don't have the patience, you don't have the spacing, you don't have the IQ. Outside of the combos and the mix-ups and things like that, you don't know how to map out the game plan, even though the game plan is very simple. And that's why you have like the ninjas and the Sonic Foxes just continually dominating the game, which is probably going to continue when majors come back, if they do come back, or if they have like a big online tournament. More than likely it's going to stay the same with like guys like Ninja Killer and Sonic Fox winning the tournament, just because they're that much better skill-wise than the majority of the world of the NRS community. I don't know. I think it's a thing where the games have like a lot of games have gotten dumbed down. Even like talking to like a lot of like Tekken vets, they complain about Tekken 7, comparing it to like games like Tekken 6 and Tekken Tag 2 and Tekken 5, like just older Tekken games were a lot easier. And I can kind of understand because like certain stuff like Rage Drive, Rage Art, like those like free damage or kind of comeback mechanics, because there's certain characters that you can get like massive damage off of a Rage Art, which is just pressing two buttons, or off of a Rage Drive, which is a decent combo extender, but again, like it's still like damage that you really don't have to work for in certain instances. But I don't know. I mean, I think the trend is probably going to stay about the same, so like there's really not much people can do about it but adapt. But then you still have... Actually, no, I got to take that back, because I would say you still have games like Guilty Gear, but I played the Guilty Gear beta, and the game was just like, it looked like it was watered down. I mean, you lose a lot of moves, you lost a lot of variation, characters felt like stuck to the ground, you lost a lot of mobility. doesn't feel like the same game anymore, and it worries me just because I think for the sake of marketing, they want to make it so simple, but then like you're losing what made it so great in the first place. Like I feel like you can tone down certain stuff. Like I feel like in Guilty Gear you can kind of tone down the execution just a tiny bit, tone down like take away stuff like Danger Time, things like that, but still be able to have a game that's difficult enough to play for the hardcore fans to stay engaged, but simple enough to understand that a newer player can grasp it, pick it up, and then want to learn how to play the game. You know what I'm saying? So it's weird. Like FGC in the fighting game realm is in a weird place. I don't know. I feel like it's just like a thing where it's gonna come to a point where they're gonna dumb it down to so much to the point where it's gonna be like a freaking like 2-button fighter, or it's gonna be something like what's the name of that game? Not Rising Thunder. Damn it. What's the name of that game? Oh man, this is killing me. What is the name of that game, man? Shit. What is the name of that game? Not Rising Thunder. Fantasy Strike. Fantasy Strike. So like Fantasy Strike is like it's very simple. Like it's so simple. It's so simple. But I feel like a game like MK or Street Fighter or Tekken, like it shouldn't tend towards that. Like games like that should be their own thing, which I think is great because it's an entry into fighting games for people. But I also want it to be like, okay, this is the beginning. This is like bare bones, simple stuff, simple execution, simple game plan. But then I also want that high level game plan, those high level reads, those split decision things that are in high level games like Guilty Gear, like Street Fighter 4, like Tekken 7, in a lot of aspects, even though people do complain about it being easier. I don't want it to become a point where it's like, okay, well, I press one button and I do a 10-kit combo that does 60%. Like, at that point, then you just basically just lost everything that was important about the game. I mean, now it's literally just a spacing thing. I mean, that's fine if you want to make a game like that. But you're gonna have to really be careful because, like, for example, I think that they missed the mark on a game like Sam Show, just because I come from a martial arts background and I come from like stuff like karate, stuff like taekwondo. I've studied some kendo, where you are like fencing or you're trying to score points. Where I feel like that kind of style of game for Sam Show would be so dope, because I feel like instead of getting like massive damage, you're getting points. You know what I'm saying? So like every time you get like a light hit, it's like 1 point. Every time you get a medium hit, it's 2 points. Every time you get a heavy, 3, special hit 4, whatever. And then have you rack up points over the course of like 2 minutes, and then have that be the way that you win or lose the game, which I think would be more fun, just from the standpoint of, okay, so like now, okay, wow, he's down 5, he has to really be careful, he's moving in, moving out, boom. Oh, like people will probably go crazy, but now it's just like Sam Show is literally just like a big like snooze fest sometimes when you're watching it. But that is just my take on it. I enjoy fighting games. I mean, I'll continue to play them. I'm still on the caster side more or less, but it's always a fun time to get some fighting games in. But what do you guys think? I always have to ask that. Do you feel like games are getting too easy? Do you feel like they're going to keep getting easier? Do you feel that a game like Fantasy Strike is what it is? It's going to be like that gateway for fighting games, and then you'll be able to get those advanced mechanics in Street Fighter and Tekken and MK and things like that. What do you guys think? Let me know. Make sure you share Enter the Dojo podcast on Twitter. It's Sensei_Global21, iTunes, International. Oh, wow. No, not iTunes. Instagram. The other thing with the I. Instagram is International_Sensei. The Enter the Dojo podcast is your source for all things fighting related, whether that is combat sports or fighting games. With that being said, thank you guys so much, and we must now exit the dojo. Us.